I'd like to show you a strategy that's become one of my favorites in the last couple of years. It's something that I didn't learn in school, but I've learned recently, and it can make subtraction problems of all kinds a lot easier. Let's take a look. We're going to start with whole numbers, and then we'll take a look at how this will work with fractions. 36 minus 29. I could, of course, do that problem setting it up this way, and to borrow 1 from the 3, make that a 2, from the 30, make that 16. 16 minus 9 then is 7, and 20 minus 20 is 0, so that answer would be 7. Here's another way that I can think about it. If I were to subtract 36 minus 30, that's an easy problem that I can do in my head. 36 minus 30 is clearly 6. But I didn't want to subtract 30, I wanted to subtract 29. So I subtracted 1 too many. So I should add that 1 back. 36 minus 30 is 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. I can do it all in my head. Let's take a look at this problem here. 1,437 minus 298. Well, 298 is very close to 300. Subtracting 300 would be easy to do. So 1,437 minus, you can hear the class next door, maybe, minus 300. 300 is how many too much? 2, so I'm going to add 2 back. 1,437 minus 300 is 1,137 plus 2 is 1,139. We can do some more practice with this, with using just whole numbers, but today I'd like to talk about how this is going to work with fractions. So one of the tricks is figuring out what's the next convenient number, recognizing that. 29, 30 is a number that's really easy to use. 298, 300 is easy to use. What about with fraction? Number is much easier to add or subtract than adding or subtracting fractions. So if I want to use whole numbers, I need to know how far a fraction is from the next whole number. 2/3, how much do I have to add to 2/3 to equal 1 whole? Well, 2/3 is 2/3. 1 whole in thirds is the same as 3/3, so 2 plus 1/3 would equal 1 whole. 3/5 to add up to 1. Now I need to think of 1 as 5/5, so 3/5 plus 2/5 would give me 5/5. What would I add to 3/8 to make it 1 whole? Well, 1 whole in terms of eighths is 8/8, so I would be adding 5/8 to that. And again, 1 whole, 7/7, so I would be adding 6/7 to that. Pause the video here and think about what answers you would put in these two spaces. Well, for 1 whole in terms of twelfths, that would be 12/12. So that would mean that I would need to add 9/12 to that. And 1 whole in terms of 20ths is going to be 20/20. So I would add 7/20 to that. Okay. Let's take this up to the next level. 2 and 10/15. I want to add something to it to make it the next whole number. 2 plus a little bit more. The next whole number after 2 would be 3. So 2 and 10/15 is going to equal, what would I have to add to make that 3? Well, 3 is like having 2 and 15/15, because because we're dealing in terms of 15ths. So to make it 3, I want to add 5/15. 1 and 9/12. The next whole number after 1 is 2. So what am I going to add to this to make it 2? Well, 2 is like having 1 and 12/12. So what would I add to 9/12 to make 12/12? I would add 3/12. Try these next two on your own, pause the video, and then when you're ready, go ahead and restart it and you can check your answers. Okay, the next whole number after 3 and 2/6 is 4. And that's the same as having 3 and 6/6. So 3 plus, I'm going to add plus 4/6, and that'll give me 4. 2 and 5/20, the next whole number there would be 3. That's the same as having 2 and 20/20. So what would I be adding there? I would be adding 15/20. Okay. So now we're ready to tackle our problems. 7 1/4 minus 2 3/5. First step, of course, is to get common denominators. So in this case, the common denominator would be 20. So 7, and I'm going to multiply this by 5 to make 20. So times 5, that means 5/20. Minus 2, and to make these 20ths, I'm going to multiply by 4, so that means times 4, and that's going to be 12/20. Now, some people might make a mistake here, and they might say, all right, 7 minus 2 is 5, and then 12 minus 5 is 7. That's the common mistake. But remember, it's this number minus this number. You have to do 7 minus 2, and then you have to do the 20ths minus 20ths. So we have to always be taking whatever's over here away. Well, let's try our strategy. If I am taking away 2 and 12/20, the next whole number would be 3. So if I took away 3, I would be taking away too much. How much too much would I be taking away? Well, to bring 2 and 12/20, how much more is that? 3 is how much more? Well, 2 and 12/20, 3 is the same as 2 and 20/20. So 3 is 8/20 more than 2 and 12/20. So if I took away 3, I would be taking away 8/20 too much. So I'm going to add 8/20 back. 7 and 5/20 minus 3, that's just 7 minus 3. That's 4/20. So that's 4. And then there are 5/20. So 7 and 5/20 minus 3 is 4 and 5/20. I have to add the 8/20 back. So that equals 4 and 13/20. So what did I do? I took 2 and 12/20 and I thought about what's the next whole number. If I subtract that whole number, that's an easy subtraction, and then I just add back how much too much. To go from 2 and 12/20 up to 3, I have to add 8/20. So I'm going to add those 8/20 back because I took 3 too much. So I took away 3, that was 8/20 too much. Let's try another one. 4 and 1/3 minus 2 and 3/4. We get a common denominator, times 4 times 4, and that's going to be 4 and 4/12, minus 2, and to make that 12, I got to multiply by 3, so it's going to be 3. That'll be 9/12. Okay. You might pause the video here and try the rest yourself, or you can keep watching if you'd like to see another example. All right. So 4 and 4/12 minus, what's the next whole number? Again, the next whole number is 3. 3 is how much more than 2 and 9/12? It's going to be 3 more. Because if I add 3/12 to 9/12, I'll get 3. So I take away 3, I took away too much. I took away 3/12 too much, so I'm going to add that back. 4 minus 3 is 1, so that's 1 and 4/12 plus the 3/12 that I have to add back. And that equals 1 and 7/12.